over how to open a package of sterile gloves, how to put on those sterile gloves, otherwise known as donning, and how to remove those gloves once they've been soiled or contaminated. So here I have a package of sterile gloves, and once you have a package of sterile gloves, you want to make sure that there are no rips or tears on the package already, because that would mean the gloves are contaminated. And you also want to make sure that the expiration date is still current, because sterility can expire. And lastly, you want to make sure you have the right size gloves. But before putting on any pair of gloves, you want to make sure to perform hand hygiene with either hand gel or soap and water. So here I have hand gel. And either way, while performing hand hygiene, you want to make sure that all the moisture leaves your hands, because it's very difficult to put on the sterile gloves if your hands are wet. So that means rubbing the gel in completely in your hands or completely drying off your hands with a paper towel if you use soap and water. So now I'm ready to open the package, and on the top of the package there's already a open slit end, so I can pull on that and take out the inner tissue package with the gloves inside. I can touch this package with my non-sterile hands because the gloves are inside, covered by this tissue paper. Now that I have the package of sterile gloves in front of me, I can open it like a book, and I'll see that there's a top and bottom flap. So I'm going to open the top flap away from me first, and then open the bottom flap towards me. And for this inner flap, I'm going to take my 2 index fingers and slide them under the outer paper and pull it open. And I can manipulate the paper to let it stand so that I can put on the gloves. And I'll be careful to only touch the outer 1-inch border of this tissue paper, because it is contaminated because I have touched it. So I'm going to want to glove my right hand first, that's my dominant hand, and I'm going to take my thumb and my index finger of my non-dominant hand and pinch the cuff of the right glove. And open it up so I can scoop my fingers in. And I only want to touch the folded cuff because the glove is sterile and I can pull on it because that part will touch my skin anyways. To glove my non-dominant hand, I'm going to want to stabilize the paper with my non-dominant hand and use the pinky of my dominant hand to stabilize the glove, keeping my thumb up to reduce the risk of contamination. So my sterile glove is touching the sterile glove I'm going to put on. So I'm going to scoop my fingers under this cuff and open the glove, and then scoop my hand in and pull the cuff down. So now both my sterile gloves are on. So now that I have both gloves on, I'm going to keep my fingers interlocked before any patient interaction, as to remind myself that I cannot touch anything that's not sterile with my sterile gloves, and to remind myself to keep my hands above my waist to remain sterile for the client. Once you're done interacting with the patient, depending on what procedure you've done, your glove has become contaminated because there's probably blood or body fluids on it, or you've touched the patient who is not sterile. So to protect yourself, you want to make sure to not touch your contaminated gloves to your skin for the risk of infecting yourself. So I'm going to deglove my dominant hand first, using again my thumb and index finger of my non-dominant hand. I'm going to pinch the outside of the cuff as to not touch my skin, pull on it, and invert this glove so that my right hand has come out cleanly, and I'm going to fold in the dominant glove I just took off in my non-dominant hand. So when I take off this glove, I'm going to keep my fingers against my skin and touch the inside of this cuff, and again pull and invert the glove so that the contaminated parts of the glove are now folded in on each other, and I can put it in the trash.